All right, hi guys. Basically, I've been playing Teamfight Tactics for quite a while now. My in-game name is NY69. I'm currently Diamond 4. So I was originally gonna make this video when I hit Masters, but unfortunately, that's proving to be quite a difficult task. I don't know when I'll get there, to be honest. So I decided, you know, I got this crazy setup and everything to make a video. So hell with it. I'm just gonna make a video, right? So basically, what my plan is to make. I think it's gonna be a 13 episode guide, mainly for beginners, on basically how to get to diamond. Because I know how to get you to diamond, right? And how to get to diamond is basically just win more than you lose. I can teach you how to do that. But to get to masters, you have to win, right? You have to place first. I haven't gotten the hang of that yet, but when I do, I'll be able to update these episodes, I guess, bit by bit when I figure stuff out by myself. But for now, probably not going to touch the game for a while. So I guess I'll just pass down everything I know. Hopefully, you guys learn some stuff from it. All right, so without further ado, I guess the first episode, the first part of the game is understanding how to play the game, right? So if you guys don't already know how to play the game, I mean, if you guys already know how to play the game, then you could just skip this episode. But what the heck? Why is it not working? Okay, I guess I have to click the arrows. Anyways, so this episode will mainly be an introduction on how the game works. So how this game works is basically you're gonna build an army, using a bunch of units, right? So every round there's stuff that happens, right? This game exists to have rounds. So there's gonna be round one, round two, round three, and the rounds last until you die. We'll talk more about that later. But every round, what happens is you'll see 5 units pop up at the bottom, one, two, three, four, five, right? And you'll gain some gold. So use that gold to buy whichever units you want from the bottom, right? So those units can be of 5 ranks, right? $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. The colors here represent how the colors indicate their ranks. And obviously, if a unit costs 5 gold, it's way stronger than a unit costs 1 gold, right? But there's another way to make your units stronger is that if you have 3 of the same units, the exact same name, right? You can combine them to make a super strong unit, right? So a 3 cost, a blue will always beat a gray, right? But a 2-star gray, so 3 grays of the same thing, will probably beat out a blue in a 1v1 duel, right? So the goal is not only to collect strong units, but also to collect same units so you can make stronger units, right? So gold can also be used to buy EXP, right? So what happens is 4 gold equals 4 EXP, and you can use EXP to level up, right? So you start off at like level 1, you can put on 1 unit. Level 2, you put on 2 units. Level 3, you put on 3 units, etc. Um, the more the higher level you are, obviously, the more units you can put on, and the more units you can put on, your army becomes stronger, right? So the goal of this game is basically to put on as many strong units on as possible, and you're gonna face other teams, and your just job is just to crush their units, right? And if your army is better than their army, you win the round. So when I said you can just shove units on the field, right? It's not just about shoving on, five gold units, 2-star units. You have so many 5-star, 2-star units. Oh, you're so strong, right? No, that's not the case. You also need to factor in synergies, right? So what happens is each unit uh also has 2 or more attributes. Usually they just have 2, and you have to take into account those attributes. You want to put units on the field with the same attributes, right? So you can't just shove a knight, a yordle, and then an assassin, and then maybe a sorcerer in there. That team's gonna suck, right? You want maybe 4 knights and then 3 yordles. So then, that way your entire army, or even just those units themselves, will gain power ups, right? So for example, if you put on 4 knights, all the knights are able to block damage. That's way better than putting on just the one knight itself, right? So yeah, basically the ideal team is one that has a balance between 2 stars, so like the number of stars, the number of costs. So you don't want to make a team full of like 1 cost units. And also you want a team that has a bunch of synergies, right? A balance of those three makes the ideal army. And obviously you want more units too, right? So 5 units will always crush 6 units. How to win. So I touched upon this earlier, but basically every round after you're done making your adjustments, you play one of the 7 other players in the game, right? So it's your army versus their army, and then it's gonna be like an automatic fight. That's why the game originally was called Auto Chess when Dota came out with it. And the player whose army survives the fight wins the round, right? So whoever doesn't win the round, you actually take damage proportional to the number of units that beat you. So if you got absolutely murked, then you're gonna lose a lot of health, right? So let's see an example of that actually. If you go on my Twitch, I think there's a video here. So yeah, you can see like this is the start of the round. Okay, so let's see this battle, right? We could just skip forward to the. Oh, whoops. All right, here. So the ending, right? So you can see that I take relatively little damage here because there's only like 3 units, right? And they're all level 1. But later on in the game, sure, around here, right? You can see I'm about to get absolutely murked this fight, right? Every one of my guys are probably gonna die. Oh, actually, my team is doing pretty well here. What the heck? Okay, here, another example, right? So I only have 1 unit, so he takes such little damage, right? But if more of my units survive, he would have taken a lot of damage. Here, what's a good example of a fight where I get absolutely crushed? Man, these are all really close fights. Okay, here I should get absolutely crushed. Yeah, so you see this time he has 5 units, and they're all higher than level 1, so I take a lot of damage, right? Or relatively a lot of damage. So basically, it's not just about winning or losing the fight. You also kind of want to make it close, right? So even if you lose, you just take a little bit of damage. So you start off with 100 health. You may have noticed there's sidebars here that indicate how much health each player has. You start off with 100. When you hit 0 health, you lose the entire game, right? So you can't. Your army disappears. You're done, right? Game over for you. So yeah, that's basically how the game works. What else is there? I think there's something else we need to talk about. Oh, other important rules. Okay. So basically, after every 6 or so rounds, there's also a carousel, right? So in between rounds, there's also, you may have seen earlier here, this thing is called carousel. So how it works is, let's start from the very beginning. All right, so how it works is everyone is around in a circle, and then what happens is the lowest health players get to pick first, right? So these two have the lowest health. You can see they get to pick first. This guy goes for the pink, which is pretty good. This guy, okay, they're going for items. I'll talk about that later. But see, next is me. I go for the gold because I'm a smart guy. 5 cost better than like 1 cost. But that's not always the case. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, you get the point, right? Everyone takes turns picking their guy according to the health they have until everything's good, right? And then it's back to normal. Okay? Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a carousel. So that happens every 6 or so rounds. The exception is at the start of the game. The first carousel, it's the same. You go around, but there's no like order, right? Because everyone starts at 100 health. Everyone gets let out at the same time. So shortly after the carousel, there's usually like 1 or 2 rounds, and then you fight neutral monsters. I think here, right? So after the carousel, 1 or 2 rounds, you fight these neutral monsters. So they're actually not another player. They're just a bunch of computers, right? And then these guys, you pretty much like you know whether you're gonna win or lose against them. Unlike the computer, you don't know what army they're gonna play, but you always know these guys, and they're usually relatively weak, right? So what's special about when you fight neutral monsters is that they drop items. So these little boxes, right? So you may have noticed before on the carousel, they also had items on top of the champions or units. So what items do is you can put items on top of people, right? So you can see here, I'm putting an item on top of my Darius. But putting items on top of units makes them stronger, right? Makes that particular unit stronger. So you kind of want to put your items on your strongest units so they can just like carry the game, right? So you can see I put all my items on this gold guy because he's gold, he's really strong, right? Yeah, and then 2 items combine to make a super item. So let's go back here. So you can see how I have these 2 individual items, right? So what happens is if you put them, so Negatron Cloak by itself is kind of weak, Rod by itself is kind of weak, but when you put them together, you make Ionic Spark, right? It's a super item. So in addition to boosting Darius's attack, magic damage, and its like magic resist, it also adds a special ability. So the point of this is basically 2 items together is better than 2 items apart, right? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for how the game works. But obviously, knowing how the game works is not enough, right, to win the game, which is why we'll be covering how to win the game in the next 12 episodes. So, yeah, catch you guys later.